Hi, it's Daniel Murphy. I put out a video earlier this year explaining the use of the plate cut for a short bar technique when your bar is a little shorter than the notch you're going to cut. The tip is buried in here. With this short bar technique, I'm able to make this entire notch from one side of the tree. I don't have to walk around the other side of the tree. I reach over the top there and knock out the far corner that I couldn't reach just by lifting the saw up a little bit. When I make that initial bottom cut of the face, it doesn't take long at all to make this cut intentionally higher. We're talking, that might be 10 seconds. And then what I have here, now I have a perfect view of the remainder of the cut, so I can match my bottom cut up on the second pass perfectly. This is good for anybody that's not a West Coast logger with x-ray vision. These guys have so much experience using the saw that they can seemingly match cuts up perfectly on a Humboldt first time every time. This cut allows a guy who with a lot less skill and experience than that to still make a clean cut every single time. You can see the apex of the notch clearly. There's no bypass in the face cuts. There's also a little height to the hinge fibers on the front of the hinge, which is going to give greater holding ability to this cut. So this technique is fast and efficient because it allows me to make the cut from one side of the tree without walking around the other side of the tree. It's easy and reliable because it can be made without a ton of skill, and I can absolutely see exactly what's going on in the apex of that notch. And it gives the hinge extra strength, which can be a huge advantage. I'm taking out an intentionally high cut. Now, if there's a little bypass here, it's not going to matter because the hinge is going to be well behind here. In order to make sure I can see what's going on in there. And then when I'm getting close, I just give a little lift to the bar of the saw and pop that piece out of there. That's going to leave a little bit of schmutz in the apex of that notch there, so I just clean it out. Making two cuts for the bottom cut of the face may seem like a waste of time to some people. If you look at the video, you'll see it only takes a few extra seconds. If you look at how many people struggle with getting a clean face, they go out there and they hit it with a hammer, they walk around the tree. It really is actually a great time saver. Alright, it's Daniel Murphy. We got like a 24-inch bar here. Cutting a fairly big tree, so it's probably close to 4 feet across. So it's going to be a bit of a tricky cut. Definitely a short bar technique. Let's see how we do it. One of the things I've always struggled with on notches on these big trees with a short bar is on this initial cut, which for me is the angled cut, making sure that the height of one side matches the height of the other. It's always hard for me to judge that. That's not going to be an issue if you make your horizontal cut first. If you make your horizontal cut first, then you have to have the skill to match that cut with the top, with the angled cut. I think it's a lot easier to make the top angled cut first and match it with the horizontal cut. So in this short bar technique, we're going to make the plate cut. That initial horizontal cut's going to be high, and then that will give me a level plane from which I can judge the height of the top cut to make sure both sides are evened up. A lot of professional fallers that are in the woods every day falling trees have the skill to make these types of tricky cuts and make them match perfectly every time. If you don't, try this one out and let me know how you make out. That first cut didn't take long. I made it intentionally high. Now I can see exactly what's going on with my top cut, my angle cut of the face. I'm quite a bit lower on this side than I am on that side. Let's just double check and see how far the saw gets in there too. So I'm going to check to make sure that the tip of the bar makes it more than halfway through the tree here. I'm also get a good idea of the height of the cut on that side just by running the bar in there one more time. And now I got to bring this side down significantly in order to match the other side. And I'm trying to judge that how far to go down. Probably could have gone down a little further. Then in order to make this cut easy, I'm going to bisect the notch here. I'm going to cut this face cut right in half. And it doesn't matter how deep I go, how far down I go. because that's only going to take out one little portion of the potential hinge wood, which I'm going to plan on cutting out anyhow as I'm going to center plunge this thing. But this is definitely going to make my cut a lot easier here, being able to take it off in two pieces.
Let's get a closer to the face cut so far. We've got nice, good, clean wood here. No bypass of the two cuts. Clearly that's good. This area still's got to have to get cleaned up a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to plunge out this whole center area. So whatever goes on in the center really doesn't matter. But I'm happy with that side of the face cut over there. Let me just fix this guy over here.
So I'm just going to clean up the apex of that notch on this left side, and then I'm going to center plunge the entire middle of this hinge wood out. And that'll leave me two posts, one on each side of good wood. Some people think that the characteristic of the wood fibers, that the sapwood has better holding ability than the heartwood. Now that may be species dependent, but I've seen too much to the contrary. The reason that sapwood holds better is because of just its physical position. It's towards the end. It's going to have better leverage to fight against any type of side lean. The position of the wood fibers in the hinge between the sapwood and the hinge wood that makes a difference, not the actual characteristics of the wood fibers themselves. And making that center plunge deep is going to make sure that I don't run into a problem with the short bar on the back cut.
Try to keep these fairly close to even. The amount of wood on this side, the amount of wood on that side. We're a little bit shy over here, a little long over there. But you can definitely see we've got a nice clean face on this side now too. That wasn't hard to cut. We're just going to plunge in, come out the back side, plunge in on the other side, come out the back side. We're good to go.
There's a slight differential between the height of the floor of the notch on the right side and the left side here, but that's not enough to make any kind of significant difference in the fall. With all the momentum, the weight, and the speed of this top, by the time that face closes, it wasn't going to make any significant difference in the lay. However, if it was a very tight drop, I would have cleaned it up. In this situation, I had plenty of room. It wasn't a tight drop at all, so I wasn't even worried about it. For the back cut on this particular tree, I plunged in on each side, came up to set the exact amount of hinge wood I needed on each side, and then just came straight out the back. The focus of this video is primarily for how to cut your notch. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Appreciate any comments, and thanks for watching.